It is a beautiful day here in the Midwest, in the Chicago area, and I am Coffee Kevin, and I'm here to talk to you about coffee and to share. Actually, this is kind of I'm a naughty little boy today because I'm showing you something I don't think you can get anymore. And I'm just beside myself because I got so excited when I first saw this machine. I get excited every time I use it. And I have one of my best friends, Bob Hennigan, who lives up in Sturgeon Bay. Michael, it looks like the camera's going away. Yeah, I thought I was, you know, I hate when you lose a camera person in the middle of the show. It just, what do you do? Well, it means I have to get up and walk out of the shot and, tighten the tripod. And then, oh, that's right, I have to drag the camera person out into the anyway. It's fine. He's fine. The But we have this coffee, and we're going to make. This is a great coffee maker. Let me get back on track here. It makes two perfect cups. It makes one perfect cup. And I know some people say, well, what's the difference between this and a K cup? Well, and by the way, I'm not the severest critic of the K cup, and I realize in the specialty coffee world, there's a lot of kind of smug frowns and all kinds of practiced snobbish face expressions to respond to the K cup, but the K cup is not inherently a horrible concept. This is not a K cup machine, so I'll stop the body language. The K cup is not a horrible concept. The K cup fixed a number of problems. I'll just say this. The K cup fixed a number of problems that existed with traditional automatic drip makers. For one thing, it addressed the problem of the brewing problem of trying to. There became this ridiculous competition in the 1980s and 90s of making bigger and bigger batches to the point that they began to shrink cup sizes to fool people so that everybody could claim 12 cups, 14 cups, like the idea that, you didn't want to have to make coffee twice at the gas station in a day or something like that. I don't know. But the fact is, most people have a cup of coffee or two before they leave for work during the day. Most people have a cup of coffee or two after dinner. In the demographic that I grew up with, which is baby boomer and frankly Gen X and to the millennial generation, most people, the endless cup of coffee was a product of the GI generation. And it was the idea that you're always drinking coffee, you're always fueling, you're always creating energy. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, the side of me it admires it a little bit, but it's not. It did not continue for a lot of reasons. One of them is health, but one of them is taste. And if you're just drinking coffee as liquid Vivarin, you don't need the coffee to taste that good, I guess, and you don't need it to be fresh. Well, I drink coffee as a culinary extension of, the same reason I like fine dining and etc. Kind of a foodie type. This is better addresses that than a larger coffee maker, a batch brewer, for me and for a lot of people. And a craft brews it. It literally roboticized craft coffee making. And it is just a wonderful invention. It's the Bunn Trifecta. And back to the K-Cup for a second. The K-Cup did fix a number of things. One of the things that, as they were making bigger and bigger batch brewers, we were getting a loss in flavor. I'll never forget when Good Housekeeping, the last place on earth I would ever look for a review on a coffee maker, but apparently they found that they could make some money by starting to award industry coffee awards, Good Housekeeping approved coffee makers, and they chose coffee makers based upon a cup per minute spec. That was something invented by a marketer somewhere. It had nothing to do with, I've never heard anyone say producing coffee with drip machines at a cup a minute is any kind of desirable specification. At any rate, they made bigger and bigger coffee makers, and with these puny heating elements that were lucky to chug up to near the proper brewing temperature at the end of the cycle. That is, the K-Cup may not have fixed that, but the K-Cup at least had a more modest goal of making 1 cup of coffee. So you could say, well, it's possible to, on a puny heating element, to get to or close to 200 degrees. Not that they do, but there are actually a couple of K-Cup machines, and I have tested them, and they're published at the Coffee Companion, where in fact, Bunn was one of the companies that made a K-Cup machine that made it into the right brewing area, meaning could be a certified gold cup standard, meaning it made it between 196 Fahrenheit and 205 Fahrenheit. Back to, so the K-Cup did that. The K-Cup also, one of the problems is that the cup a minute is 12 minutes brewing time, contact time between the water and the coffee is way too long. No wonder people were getting incredibly bitter coffee, even brewed at optimal temperatures. Horrid stuff. And the K-Cup solved that problem in that the K-Cup went the other way. The K-Cup, if anything, under-extracted, but I would argue under-extraction is more pleasant than over-extraction. So it's, in that regard, I'd rather have my vegetables slightly undercooked than overcooked. And the other thing that it fixed was probably, not that it fixed it, but people forgot how to measure coffee, and the K-Cup did fix it. The K-Cup theoretically, and a properly filled K-Cup is the right amount of coffee properly ground for that extraction method. Those things were fixed. It might not be fresh coffee. It certainly wasn't freshly ground coffee, and and they underfilled them is a complaint that I've heard. So but that's not true of everybody's. And sometimes you get a small batch roaster that does K-Cups, and they actually, when they fill them properly. And Bill McAlpin of La Manita proved to me with his coffees, he actually started packaging his coffees properly roasted and filled properly, so that you did get a pretty decent, with a good, properly working cake. I'm using the word properly a lot. You could get a decent shot with it. However, this is a whole step forward. This is true par excellence coffee. You could get, and let me tell you, and you can't get these anymore, so what might have been. You get this thing, and think of the AeroPress, and what made me think of this is when we were planning the AeroPress show. We have, you put the coffee in here, and you, by the way, I better put some water in here. I think it needs to kind of let's see. Can we get a close up there, Michael, or is that it? There we go. I'm using the camera shot to actually. Did I get there? Did I overfill it? Yeah, I did, didn't I? No, it's fine. It's close enough. 12 cups. Is it designed to, I can't remember. Is it, I guess right there is fine. Okay. We are used to 5 cups. I like that aspect too. You can get 2 perfect cups out of this thing. And that is great. Okay, and this will Do we have this plugged in? Yes. Okay, good. And then what I am doing is, for 12 cups, approximately 20 grams of coffee. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Look at am I out of focus? Or oh, I know. It's looking. It's waiting. Oh, get back on that other shot because let me do the 3D thing. There we go. Look at that. That is... I realize it's too much light on my hand. Are you better there? Anyway. This is some Collectivo coffee that I've got in the coffee freshness system. It's a Mexican coffee. It is a beautiful coffee, and it will make wonderful brew here. So, we want to make 2 perfect cups. You just put it in here. This is a, by the way, and this has a metal mesh filter at the bottom of it, that very little sediment problem, almost none. There we are. And I do wish you could put paper filters in this for the same reason we were talking about with the AeroPress, but it's not to be. There's no way I've ever found to make paper filters work. That said, Bunn did a great job on this. They, as far as the metal filters go, I get very little sediment, although one must acknowledge, if you watched Alan Adler's presentation, you're going to get the cholesterol from this. But it is a really great machine. And then all I do, you shake it. You don't press it down. It's not an espresso. And you put it in here. And then you press that in. It seals it. It is a completely contained process. And then you have to, you know, this is where we want the close-up here, Michael, on these buttons. Let me get this out of the way so I can reach around. And I'll wait for you to get that shot so that we can, I know it's a little tricky to get that shot, but okay. Okay, good. It has 2 controls. Infusion time, which is the contact time between the water and the ground coffee. And then there's a and this, let me see, we're going to make this, if we were trying to emulate 40 seconds, 45 seconds, 50 seconds would be kind of what I would consider in the range of AeroPress or actually espresso emulation, but AeroPress. And then 2 minutes to 3 minutes, 2 minutes to 3 minutes would be more like a siphon. And I actually consider this closest to the siphon in flavor. Not so much like a drip machine. And then turbulence. Turbulence is, speaking of siphons, and speaking, you can get turbulence all the way up to E, which is, who knows what these things stand for, but I assume the higher the letter, the more turbulence. I assume it's lower to higher. I have enough turbulence in my life, so I'm going to keep it down on the A side. But anyway, and that is just, it will create 2 perfect cups. So I'm very excited about this in every way. There is a machine still made called the Bunn Trifecta, but it is a commercial machine. The commercial machine has more settings. And the commercial machine, I would presume, I've never had the chance to use the commercial version. But I will tell you that this version, there is only one thing missing from it as far as I'm concerned that I really wish had been included, and that's a temperature control. It is, and I've tested it, smack dab at 200 and unvarying. That's a great temperature if you're going to pick a temperature. But it's I wish I had a little more play with that just because of my own eccentricity. let's make a coffee. However, before that, I want to show you a clip for CoffeeCon because a lot of you haven't voted yet. Everyone needs to vote. And the vote, yeah, I know it costs $10 to vote, but for $10 we give you downloads from all the CoffeeCon events next year. That's and maybe something else, but that I can guarantee you we will do. Can you run that clip?
Through August 1st on Indiegogo, vote for which 3 of 6 cities most crave a CoffeeCon event in 2020. Taste, try, and learn everything about coffee. CoffeeCon is for you, the enthusiast. CoffeeCon.
Well, you know, there's all sorts of commercials in life, aren't there? So anyway, let's make a coffee. And what am I picking here now? Let's see. I've got, okay, that's good. That's good. Did I take 3 minutes? I want to go, see, I can't even see my own setting. 50, no, I want to go to 2 minutes. That's what I want. Okay, and then let's do it. Okay, and we can get the wider shot. Okay, and you'll see this. Oh, you'll want to get this shot on the close-up mic. No, not that close-up. Oh, you can get it on that one. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Oh yeah, that's a cool shot. It's kind of, that's better focus? Now see, now watch that. Look at that. It's foamed up, as it should, because it's pretty fresh. And you're just, you either want to widen up or tilt up a little bit. Here we go. That's what you want to see. There's the turbulence going on with that fresh coffee. You'll notice it continuously agitates it throughout the cycle. And then it just stops for a minute, and it will do it again. I think one more time. There we go. But overall, this is an excellent method. There's a little plate down here that holds this that I misplaced today. And now let's, all right. And you have the overhead shot ready? Okay, and I don't need it right now, but I will need it in a second. Okay, thanks. And I want you to see this. There is, okay, now the overhead shot, please. There we go. Look at that. Look at how well it extracts. Just that, when I said it was siphon-like, it positively is siphon-like. Look how it extracts the You can go in closer. Can you get closer on that, Mike, or is that it? Yeah. And you notice I didn't use a super fine grind. I used an automatic drip grind for this. There we go. That gives a real nice look at it, and how well it pulls the coffee from the coffee out of the grounds, just like a siphon would. In that regard, I consider it more akin to a siphon, that and the agitation, because there's constant turbulence in a siphon coffee. I was a little amused one day when someone commented on a siphon that another expert recommends very little turbulence. So I'm thinking, well, the whole time you're making a siphon, there's turbulence in a form of vibration, if nothing else. But anyway, this is a very good method. There, thanks. Okay, that is... and for some reason, it made a much smaller batch than I expected, and that's the first time I've ever had that problem. In effect, it's made a little espresso for each of us. But let me try this out. It's beautifully made, although it does taste more like an espresso or a super concentrated AeroPress shot. And I have a feeling that, I don't know what happened. I just ran my, I use it a lot, so I wanted to make sure I had a super clean cup in there, so I ran some clarifying, some acid solution through there this morning, and I rinsed it thoroughly, but I don't know, maybe that did it, but we didn't get the full amount we usually do. But it's a very good coffee making system. Now, where did I think this coffee maker should go? Well, I can think of a lot of places for it. For one thing, let's say someone wants at an airport, they have a cafe, and someone wants craft brewing. They don't want the stuff in the large batch brewer. They want something that's a little more customized for them. Well, this gives them that opportunity, and the operator really doesn't have to be trained, to be honest. I mean, they have to be trained to do it, measure correctly, but it doesn't. I find it, I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I'm in a cafe and it's busy, I would rather have the machine-made stuff, simply because unless someone's really got the time and attention to focus on a craft pour, I've been in many cafes where there's a morning rush, which I totally understand. One person there, and they're trying to make me a Chemex while they're ringing up sales and things like that. I don't know how they do it. I'm impressed it can be made properly, but again, I would rather have something automated. In other places, restaurants where they simply don't have a full-time barista, or a bar where I'm drinking coffee and everybody else is having a beer, they could make me a really good cup of coffee. I just thought that was a natural market for this. And at any rate, I know they still sell the commercial one, and I still think that's valid, and I hope they do well with it. But this particular coffee maker for home, I had the very first model. I got to try it, which was before the prototype was, I guess it would be the original invention, was made by some Bunn employees in Springfield, and it was absolutely fabulous, as I think this is. It does a great job of extracting. It's completely, all the grounds are for certain get a good agitation. They get a good ability to contact all the grounds with all the water done. It's got those things going for it. Gets the right brewing temperature, the timing, the amount of coffee that it makes. It's capable of, I think, is ideal. 1 cup, you could do 1 cup, or you can do 2. I think 2 good size cups too. So I think if someone comes over for coffee and you just want to press the button and do it, it's as close as you can come to it. I did have to grind. It's the only thing I had to do, measure and grind before the show started. It's virtually as fast as a K-Cup. Why didn't it hit? I think it's one of those times when an invention was just ahead of its time. Anyway, I really enjoyed bringing it on. I don't like to frustrate people, but maybe there are some out on eBay or something like that available. I still wish Bunn would make a small quantity of these, but it's their company to run, not mine. Meanwhile, please vote for your city. I'd really like to start planning CoffeeCon. I'd like to go around to the exhibitors on August 2nd. August 1st is the last. August 1st, our fundraising on Indiegogo ends. I would like to go on August 7th to all the exhibitors and say, look, we've got this many people that have voted. Let's start planning CoffeeCon LA for February. And we've got plenty of time to sell tickets, and we want you there. I think it would be a very powerful statement for us. So I really appreciate your support. I am Coffee Kevin, and we will see you soon with more fun coffee stuff and et cetera, et cetera. Take care.